When is it time to give up the day job? When killing becomes too easy? When being a handyman becomes too deadly? Or when danger becomes too addictive? Reasons to quit for some, for others, extreme jobs. Can you read minds? In this job, it would be a great asset as you need to keep one step ahead of terrorists, kidnappers and assassins. And you're working in one of the most dangerous countries in the world, Colombia, South America. 23-year-old Andreas Moncada is a politician's bodyguard. He's licensed to kill as part of the job description working for DAS, the Department of Administrative Services. Basically, the secret police.
The
first thing I do in the morning is to make peace with God, because I never know if I'll be coming back to my apartment at the end of the day.
Nor do a lot of Colombians. Around 70 are murdered every day. For decades, the country's been in the grip of left-wing guerrillas, right-wing paramilitaries and drug traffickers. Being a bodyguard here is unique. Politicians like Germán Vargas Lleras need protection. One year, a deadly present blew a finger off his left hand.
I was pretty lucky. Only 30% of the explosive in the letter bomb detonated. I was covered in blood. I dragged myself out of the room, and my bodyguards took me to the nearest hospital. Naturally, I lost a lot of blood, but if all the explosive had detonated, I wouldn't be alive today.
Andreas is part of a team of 18 who rotate shifts to keep up a constant presence.
I travel in the following car. I'm always ready to use my gun, so that if there's an attack, I can react within seconds. The first bullet has to hit the terrorist, not me. I only kill to protect me and my boss. The most important thing is that our cars drive so fast that other vehicles, whether cars or motorbikes, can't get past.
In this job, you need to think like a terrorist. Where could a sniper be hiding? Where's the bomb likely to be? Staying constantly alert is stressful. A bodyguard must see the world as a landscape of threat. Andreas takes up his position behind Germán. While his boss makes his political speech, Andreas keeps his eyes on the room. Germán is on the hit list, and Andreas too could be a target. The security services count their dead by the hundreds every year. Each new assignment brings new, unseen threats.
The most difficult thing is being on tour. I'm worried because it's an unfamiliar city. And I also know that we can't protect ourselves from a car bomb.
Cartago, 200 kilometers west of Bogotá, is home to the Norte de Valle, one of the biggest civilian drug gangs. Murder and intimidation keep the gangs in control here. At the rally, Germán looks relaxed, but Andreas is like a tightly coiled spring.
As soon as we see that people are forming a crowd, we'll form a protective ring around the senator. Being surrounded makes it impossible for anyone to get close or touch him, as they can't get past a ring of bodyguards.
You have to curb the desire to be trigger-happy. You also need to know when to break up the party. No one wants to mistake a bursting balloon for gunfire. Rigid professionalism like this comes with ongoing training. Every 6 months, Andreas takes a refresher course in protection techniques.
I have to train regularly. To me, my gun is my friend, and I have to understand it so that it will save my life in an emergency. You never know what to expect outside.
Gangster movies may make this job seem chic, but the reality is long hours, constant pressure, and for some, a heavy conscience. Every year in Colombia, 3,000 people are kidnapped for ransom money. Andreas may be one of the good guys, but round here, it's kill or be killed. This job can make you hard. You must suspect everyone and trust no one. A terrorist will often walk in through the front door. Before Herman's next public address, Andreas sweeps the building. There are always explosives to worry about. Even toilet bombs are not uncommon.
Damn, this is dangerous. A terrorist could enter this without problems, so we have to be careful. I'll place a man outside.
But he knows that however prepared you are, the unexpected will happen.
When I do my security inspection of a building or an area, I always think of all the assassinations that haven't been prevented.
This was a bomb that killed 39 people and injured 200.
I think it's important to take death into account. When you do that, the work is much easier. You have to keep moving forward. You never look back. If you want to prevent assassinations, you can't be fearful about what might happen, because fear will make you a coward. As long as we remain brave, things will go to plan.
With a salary of around 4,000 euros a year, money is not why he does it.
Getting to the end of the day is always a relief, as it's another day that we've managed to keep things safe against terrorists and criminals. To me, it's like a trophy. Another day we've won.
Andreas should have at least another 15 years of service ahead of him. Anyone can learn how to handle a pistol or an Uzi. But the ability to see yourself as less important than the person you protect. Only a rare few are born with that. Talking of natural talent that can get you killed, we meet a Daredevil Pilot later. But first, if you think a job in maintenance is a safe option, you haven't met John Hoff. Part carpenter, part steeplejack, he's a high-rise handyman, and he's a specialist. He installs and maintains water tanks. Sound a bit tame? Well, helping to keep 8 million New Yorkers clean, watered and fireproof is anything but ordinary. Next time you're on the streets of Manhattan, remember to look up. Pick any building above 7 stories tall and you might find John. Water that's piped from reservoirs 35 kilometres away doesn't have the pressure to go beyond the 6th floor. So, every high-rise needs a holding tank on the roof. They tend to be made of wood. Good old Western cedar and not steel. There's a lot about New York that's old-fashioned. John's work ethic for starters. He installs 30 tanks every year and maintains 500. and he does it all unseen. Year-round in freezing and sweltering weather, up to 275 metres above ground.
Your enemy is the wind. We're already used to the elements, cold, heat, rain, snow, but the wind is our enemy. The wind can make things uncontrollable.
After 30 years, John takes home around €80,000 a year, but it was a passion that got him started. When you love what you do, it's easy to forget the dangers involved.
I love wood. I love the study of it and the uses of it. In this application, there's nothing stronger than round. And it's so structurally sound that it'll never break and never just let go. I'm not afraid of too many things. I'm not afraid of anything. Out of the 3 men that broke me into the trade, 2 are dead, and 1 is paraplegic.
So far, John has never been injured at work, despite the obvious risks.
The people that I work with that are very close to me, you gel with certain people. If there's one place that's more dangerous than another, they know that I'll be there, not them. And they know that I'll insist that I'll be there.
John personally trains his own crew. The first lesson is learning to overcome fear of falling. For some, the first day on the job is a killer.
You all right? Huh?
John's company is one of only a handful that maintains all 9,000 tanks in New York.
If you thought of more than one day at a time, you couldn't do it. I don't think about the changing of the seasons because each season has its own nightmare. My 2 hands have been broken, and I've broken 14 fingers over the years. Now, I didn't grow 4 new ones. I have a lot of amount of steel in my knuckles. They swelled up in the morning. But I just do a little exercise and they come right back.
Most people are surprised that John can install a new tank within a day.
Anything that's used for water, drinking, bath, your toilet, comes from the tank.
For John, the worst part of the job is dealing with the red tape involved in getting into buildings. Sometimes it takes an emergency to get access to a rooftop.
When we get a call on an emergency, things are dropped and it's taken care of.
But getting there is another matter.
And a terrible sense of streets and addresses. But put me in a neighborhood where there's water tanks and I'll know exactly where it is. Take me out of that area and I wouldn't know a street name from a number.
You also need thick skin to deal with the frequent cold shoulder.
What happened? A valve broke?
One of the pipes broke. So far.
This the one? You get people that don't realize they have a water tank until they have to get it worked on, and their water is so rudely interrupted. New Yorkers don't care about where it comes from. As long as it comes from somewhere, they're happy.
Job satisfaction comes from seeing 100 or so apartment owners, some little children and some very elderly, relieved that they can bathe and use their toilets again. This time, the tank's wooden staves have shrunk and some of the joints are exposed. Simple in theory, close the gaps and tighten the iron hoops. But gloves slow him down, so John will go home with cracked and painful fingers from the cold. A warm handshake wouldn't go amiss.
Right?
What do you got, one line going in there?
Yeah.
They got an air vent at the top?
Yep.
All right, we'll close it down below.
I know what I got to do, but I'm just saying you're going to fill the tank.
John did 4 years at carpentry school when he started out, but it's his people handling skills that get tested more often. Every winter, John repairs over 100 water towers across the city.
This is a job that's very special and very unique, and that makes you feel good, that there's maybe 8 or 9 people in the United States that can do your job.
Only a rare breed could pull off this rare trade. At 46, John's not ready to stop courting danger. He'll be up here keeping New York's water supply flowing for a while yet. What happens when danger becomes addictive? When the drug is doing aerobatics at 300 kilometers an hour and in a plane? In Britain, aerobatic flying is second only to football for drawing in the crowds. And in Norwich, meet a king of the air, Denny Dobson. 47 years old, he's been stunt flying for over 15 years, with more than 1,000 displays on his CV.
It's not really a job, it's not really a sport to me, it's an obsession.
An obsession that has nearly cost him his life more times than he can remember. Denny's Extra 300 monoplane is 7 metres long with an 8-metre wingspan. It's small and light, less than 700 kilos, and can climb at a rate of over 16 metres per second. Denny also does plane limbo, where he flies a metre off the ground under a ribbon held by spectators. It's all done in the name of entertainment, but the job also comes with big responsibilities.
It's the maintenance, the hangarage, insurance, the everyday running costs, you know, they're colossal.
After technical checks, Denny and his partner Sandra prepare navigation routes for the day ahead.
Down to the air show.
Do you want them on the southern end?
Yeah.
The display needs to be choreographed down to the finest detail.
Whereabouts do you want us to stay for the
It's one thing for Denny to risk his own life, but a mistake could easily kill spectators.
So around that point there.
Today, the stakes are high. He wants to break a new limbo record by ducking 10 banners in succession.
So I think
He's done 4.
on a running it'll be about 240 plus.
For the runway rather than on one edge?
Yep,
Okay.
for equal spacing.
Yeah.
That'd do for the dummy run on the, yeah, we'll go for that.
Okay.
Sounds good, yeah.
Right, let's go then.
Denny taught himself how to do aerobatics. He got his pilot's license and then just flew high and taught himself. He practiced for just 3 years before he was ready for professional displays. The trick is to practice each routine hundreds of times. It pays to be a perfectionist if you're a daredevil. He's also an aerobatic addict. Denny's on intimate terms with the controls of 70 different types of aircraft. That makes him one of Britain's most popular stunt pilots.
I suppose I'm a bit of an oddball, I've just caught myself. I don't know whether I'm doing it right or wrong, but what the hell, it's great fun.
So what's it like in the hot seat? Denny compares it to being a jazz session player, always improvising, testing your talent, and constantly on the move in search of new gigs. With pre-show training over, ground crew make their final checks and refuel.
Colouring sky, yeah. But we don't do that. It's too messy.
Then there's time for one last practice flyby before the show. Sandra's watched Denny pulling enough 360 turns. But there's always the chance that this is the one time he'll lose control. Denny's mind is only on breaking a new record. Over 6 million people turn out to watch air displays each year. Denny and Sandra do a sideline in merchandise to help keep the planes in the air.
Okay, right, if you just...
This is a passion that must be highly regulated. If he doesn't abide by public safety rules, he risks a red card. It's more than 50 years since a member of the public was killed in a British air show. But accidents do happen. 2 killed in Slovakia in 1999, 9 in Belgium in 97, 70 dead in a multiple jet collision in Germany. The list is long. With the safety stakes so high, a good stunt pilot knows it's important to relax before takeoff. Sandra works the crowd for volunteers to hold the limbo banners for Denny's grand finale. It's vital they're confident enough to stand on a runway only a few metres from the wings when Denny will be hitting 300 kilometres an hour. While he's airborne, the volunteers take position, ready for the attempt on the record, 10 banners. Piece of cake for Denny. And the icing is a victory flyby. Denny works 50 weeks of the year, as public holidays are when he's most likely to pull in big crowds and big sponsorship money. Learning airborne stunts and having the guts to pull them off takes creativity, commitment and nerve. All for a salary that could be thousands or nothing at all. 3 common enough jobs that require extraordinary people to save lives in Colombia. The carpenter with the ultimate cure for vertigo. And a man that can fly like a bird. They won't give it up. Bet you would.